This is my newest creation. This is my Tiny House MOC. This MOC was inspired by LEGO Creator 31035, which is a set I recently reviewed. After building the 3 builds from this, I knew I had to build a tiny house. My only rule that I create for myself when building MOCs like this is to only use pieces from the set that inspires me. I feel like this creates a little bit of a challenge and limits you to what the LEGO designers would have had when they were building a similar set. In this case, I had quite a few pieces left over, but I did have some limits that kind of set me back. My main goal in designing this tiny house was to keep it as small as possible. This house is a total of 8 bricks wide, and I purposely kept it on 1 base plate, of which I had 2 available. Looking closer at the front of the house, while it is very small, it's also very open, and that's because I used quite a few windows. These are 2 windows here, and then there's also a window up here. I did that for 2 reasons. 1, to keep it kind of airy feeling, and then also 2, because I didn't have quite enough yellow bricks to cover this entire house. My favorite thing about the front of the tiny house is the porch. It has a bit of an overhang coming over the front with the roof, and I put that tiny window up there. And then I used 2 pillars on each side of the window and the door. And then if you go down a little bit further down here, you can see that I have a nice little wood deck out front that continues down and has some steps that go up to it. In this shot, you can see a better look at the deck that I was describing. As I spin the tiny house around, this is the left side, and I hate to say it, but this side's a little boring, not a whole lot going on. The main attraction is just the window, and I put a little bit of a flower box below that, and that reason was twofold. The first reason was to add a little bit of detail, and the second reason was I was running out of pieces, so I had to use a 2 wide piece instead of a single piece, so it actually worked out pretty well. Next, we'll look at the back. If you look at the bottom of the house, it's not set on a foundation. This is a type of house that's supposed to be able to move. It's almost like a trailer that you could set down anywhere. That's how a lot of those tiny houses are. The back of the house has a small window, and the gray piece that you see running vertically there, that is a part of the wood burner, which we'll see when we go inside the house. Moving a little further up, this is the top of the chimney for the wood burning stove. I have the cylinders. That was all they gave me for the grays that you see there, and then the top has a little cap piece on it that would typically keep the rainwater out. For the roof, nothing too crazy here, just simple slopes going down both sides. I did a little bit of a cutout in the back for the chimney, and I guess the interesting thing about the roof is that it pops off like this to expose the interior. This is what the inside of the roof looks like, kind of just built that up. That's the front of the building, and then that is the back, and that's where it's cut out. So it kind of works out. Here's the final side of the tiny house. This is the right side, and this side's interesting just because it's all open. I wanted to have the windows on the right side, which you see right here. I didn't want to have to put the other piece in there. This is actually a door, which isn't something that I typically wanted in the design. I only wanted to have 1 door in the front, but being that I was running out of yellow bricks, I had to do it. And it actually kind of works out because it opens up quite a bit, and you can see some of the interior, which we'll take a look at next. Now for the interior, probably my favorite part of this build, and the funny thing is I actually had the interior designed before the exterior, so I kind of set everything around inside and then built around it. But inside the house you have a chair, which I kind of stole the idea from the beach hut. It's a similar chair, not exact, but very similar. And then I made a little end table, which is also similar, but not exact. And the only reason that I had to kind of copy it was just because there were no other pieces that really worked for that. Unless I made that a sand color or white, which I didn't want to have a white floor and a white chair and a white end table, I had to do it. So that's why that stuff's orange. I made a little lamp that goes beside that so you can kind of sit there. And then in the back, there is a wood burner. And if we sneak around the front and I open the front door, which I absolutely love this shot, you can see a better look at the wood burner from the floor level. It's got a bit of a door on it, a slope coming up, and then in the middle you can see that there's some translucent orange pieces in there to kind of give the illusion of a fire, and I think it looks really great from the front and also from the top. Here's a view from the alternate angle. If you're sitting in the chair, this is what you'd see. And again, this is a door over here that opens and closes, but it goes nowhere, so I kind of like to keep it closed and just imagine that it's a window. When you want to close the house back up, it works really well because I have these tiles and I just have 4 pieces here that accept the roof once I put it back on. Just like that, and you click it down, and that is it. So that's a look at my LEGO tiny house, which was inspired by the Creator Beach Hut set. I know that the designs from the official Beach Hut set beat mine, but I had fun building this, and I'm happy the way it turned out. I like the interior, and the design elements of the outside are exactly what I wanted, minus some compromises just because I made that rule about only using pieces from the set. But I think this is a good start, and I'm going to continue hopefully making more tiny houses in the future as I get inspired by creator sets that I come across. So I thank you for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.